Hey Fruit Faces, it is KlaireeBerry, and I want to talk with you guys today a little bit about sort of a concept that I've been thinking about for a really long time. You might have seen me starting to hijack the paleo label, and I've seen a lot of other vegans do this too. I've seen Dr. Greger kind of talk about how the real original diet is, of course, going to be a frugivorian based diet with lots of greens. And this is a diet that, of course, we get from the apes, who we evolved from. To me, and I've done a lot of videos on this, if you want to check out kind of my reasoning behind this and my paleo videos, just check out my paleo playlist. It's like paleo / WAPF, Weston A. Price. The paleo diet and even Mio Paleo has just gotten so far away from the true science. You know, I'm not exactly sure when paleo was like made up, but it's been around for a while now, and there's actually been a lot of scientific discoveries is that, well, Paleolithic people were actually overall eating about 95% plant-based, and they still do. Paleo, I've talked about this in other videos too, it's not like a term that means like from this time to this time or this general time set. It means like how people are using tools. It's based off of like the Stone Age tools. So some people were like, a lot of Australian Aborigines were paleo until like the 1970s. I mean, it just depends. So you still find a lot of like hunter-gatherer societies, that most of the hunter-gatherer societies, although you hear about the Inuits and the Eskimos and all of that stuff, most of hunter-gatherer societies are largely plant-based. That's just the way that it is. So, you know, again, a lot of science is leading us towards the fact that, you know, veganism, plant-based, whatever, mostly highly plant-based diet is your actually true way to eat. This is what we came from. This is the way that we should be eating. If you think about it, our guts haven't changed that much since like our ape ancestors. They really haven't. If you had it on a diagram, if you had to like choose, a lot of people probably couldn't do it. You know, the layperson couldn't just, you know, choose correctly. The differences are in length, and humans even vary within different parts of the globe. And also when you're an infant, your digestive system actually varies slightly, but again, that doesn't mean they eat totally different. So it's just one of those things. If you're going to eat a totally different diet, you're going to have a totally different gut. So, and also it's about what's optimal. It's not about what we necessarily adapted to do. You may adapt to something. Does that mean it's optimal for you? No. So again, just a word about neo-paleism. Even worse than regular paleoism. When you throw the dairy in there, it's just completely backwards. Humans have actually been eating grains for 100,000 years, and we've only been eating dairy for about 4. So it's just backwards upon backwards upon backwards. But anyway, like I said, I think that the whole paleo diet needs to be just switched. I think we need to like reclaim this idea that ours is the original diet and lifestyle. And that's why I kind of have made up this term, and that's why I've kind of been working on how exactly I want to hijack this paleo label, because I have a lot of hashtags going around. Use them. The true paleo, original paleo, the original paleo, like real paleo, all of that. Vegan paleo. There's other ones that people have come up with. I just never felt like anything really fit with me or what I was thinking that it should be. So I came up with Mio Paleo, and technically it would be Mio Paleo because I'm basing it off of the Miocene era, which is when a lot of the primates were really evolving to the point where, you know, they're like the ancestors of, you know, the primates that are alive now, the great apes that are alive now. And also it is when the first hominids were, you know, come into existence. If you go back and look, even in the Oligocene and even in the Eocene, I was going to call it Eo-Paleo because like the basics of our digestive system were laid down by monkeys and the prosimians, the different first primates. Now they all don't eat mostly fruit-based diets, but the vast majority of them do eat just fruits and greens. And we share 98% of our DNA with the great apes. Mainly, you know, like the bonobos and chimpanzees and even like gorillas. And of course they get their protein, we all know that. So yeah, so I just wanted to, I'm going to start kind of like a little series about this, explaining it. So I just kind of wanted to introduce it and tell you guys like why I'm hijacking this label, what I'm doing with it, what you can expect, what it means when you see this label. And, you know, that way you can decide, like, if you want to use the hashtag or whatever, feel free. I just want it to be a thing. And I also, not only do I want to, like, be able to influence other people and, like, have the scientific idea all wrapped up in a nice, pretty little package that's easier to spread around, but I also, I mean, just to talk about it, it makes it easier, because I'm always like, okay, it's high carb, low fat, but it's this and that, and it's also this and that. And it is also different from raw till 4. I'm just going to be very, very blunt. It is very much based off of raw till 4, because I've been on sort of a very loose version of raw till 4 for the whole 3.5 years that I've been a vegan. It's done me very, very well. It really has. And I am only coming away from it because of slight, you know, just small little reasons that, you know, I think it's just a tiny bit too restrictive, and it's mostly in my mind. You have to eat raw till 4, then you can eat cooked. And also, the way that I just conceptualized it kind of meant that I could eat any pizza, anything I wanted that was high carb. And so it doesn't really work that way for me. Like, I want to base it more a little bit, and I'll talk about the actual specifics of the differences later, but just know that it's mainly, it also doesn't have to be raw. There's just not a differentiation, because that to me, just kind of any extra restriction that you put on yourself that isn't really necessary is like bad. If I'm sitting there worried about staying raw until 4 o'clock and I feel bad because I eat some oatmeal or rice or something before then, like, no, I don't want to be having that extra stress and extra, you know, feel bad, guilt, all that stuff. So it's a little bit different in its own ways, and I just think it's better for me, like I said. So yeah, I will go ahead and talk to you guys about the basics of it in the next video. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat your fruit.